Calvary kids, and welcome back to the 7th Midweek devotional. This week we will be talking about Nehemiah. Nehemiah has his very own book in the Old Testament, and the story that we're talking about today takes place in chapter 2. Nehemiah was a very important man in the kingdom. He was an official of the king. This meant that not only was he important to the people of the kingdom, but he was also important to the king himself. And in those days, you were not allowed to go into the king's presence looking sad. So Nehemiah tried to keep his face calm all the time, but one day he got really bad news. Nehemiah found out that his hometown, Jerusalem, had been destroyed. Have you ever received bad news? Something that made you just really sad? Maybe it was even something about the rest of your school year being canceled, but you had to do all your schoolwork from home still and not be able to see your friends. What did your face look like? Were you able to hide it, or did it show? Well, this day, Nehemiah went into the king's presence, and he couldn't hide how he was feeling. He was so sad that the king could just see it on his face. And the king said to him, "Nehemiah, why does your face look so sad when you're not sick? It looks like your heart is sad." And that's the truth, it was. Nehemiah took a risk, and he told the king that he was sad because his hometown had been destroyed. In response, the king asked Nehemiah what he could do to help. What could the king do to help Nehemiah and his sadness? Right then, Nehemiah prayed to God. And you know what? He found the words to say, and he asked the king if he could have permission to go back home to Jerusalem and help rebuild the city. The king told him he could go, and even better than that, he helped make the arrangements so that he could get there safely and even have the right materials to build with. Nehemiah met up with a few other men, and they decided that to restore the honor of Jerusalem, that they would need to rebuild the walls because the walls and the gates had been destroyed. So even though there were only a few workers and it seemed like it was way too big of a job for just them, they knew that they were doing God's work and that He was on their side. So they kept going. People opposed the job that they were doing. They told them that they were wrong to be rebuilding the wall, but Nehemiah and his workers, they just ignored those people, and they kept working. The story of Nehemiah's life has so much to offer us. Firstly, this story shows us that even when the task seems impossible and it feels like we have no help, work done for God will succeed. Secondly, when we're in a scary or maybe even dangerous situation, we can pray to God and ask for guidance. Before Nehemiah asked the king for his help, he prayed to God. Finally, we all get bad news sometimes, but we can lean on God and ask Him to help us through those hard times. Maybe He finds somebody that can help us out, gives us the right words to say, helps it so that we have what we need to make things better. God hears our prayers, and He finds ways to help us. Our memory verse for this week is from Nehemiah 1:5. So that's Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 5. And it says, "Lord God of heaven, you are great and fearsome, and you faithfully keep your promises to everyone who loves you." This week, I want you guys to build some really great marshmallow walls. We're not going to be building brick walls or anything like that, but I want you guys to try building some marshmallow walls. Maybe you can use mini marshmallows and some icing to help them stick together. And then what I want you to do is take a picture of it, and you or your parents can send in your pictures to Amanda. You can use her email, amanda@calvarygospel.ca. You'll find the information below, or you can just directly message it to her or to the church. And what they're going to do is post your pictures up online on the Instagram account, or maybe something else, I don't know. But we'll get to see your really cool creations, and during that time you can think about how God really helps us when we ask for it, when we need it. And I hope you guys all have a really great week. Bye, everyone.